Good morning, Year 5, and welcome to Friday's session on the Explorer. In today's session, we're going to be reading Chapter 6, which is called Fire. We're going to be identifying examples of personification, and we're going to also write from the point of view of a character. So a very exciting lesson coming up. Right, at the end of last session, you'll remember that I asked if possible that you could read Chapter 5, which is called Food Almost. If you have read Chapter 5, Food Almost, please write down a brief summary of the main events of the chapter. Pause the video now to do. Right, if you didn't read on in the story, not to worry, as we're just going to do a quick recap now. If you did read on and you've written your summary, please note the examples that I've got, the main events that I've summarised, and see whether you've got the same. So the first one, Fred and the other children are very, very hungry. So they've crash landed in the rainforest and they have not eaten for a while. So they're starting to feel absolutely ravenous, really hungry. They decide to find some food, including insects or berries. Lila finds a cocoa bean which has a grub inside it, right? So there's an example of a cocoa bean. Fred tastes this cocoa bean with the grub inside, and there's a little picture of the grub in case you didn't know. Max, however, the youngest of our group, he refuses to eat it. So there is a brief recap of the main events of Chapter 5. If you had a go at summarising the main events yourself, well done. Moving on to our main reading task for today, we're going to look at pages 58 to 61 in your book. An extract from the chapter Fire, and I will read aloud to you. I hope that you are following the words as we read. Now we just make a fire and cook them, said Fred. Just, said Con. We need a flint, said Fred. We need kindling, said Lila. And matches, said Con. I'll do the kindling, said Fred. He came back to the clearing and tipped the wood into a pile a few paces away from the den. There were flints in there, said Lila. We could rub away the moss and use them to make a spark. Flints don't go off. Flints aren't enough by themselves, said Fred. Lila heaped shredded leaves and dried grass in a pile. You do it over that, she said, so the spark has something to catch. Okay, I would like you now to pause the video and see whether you can work out what the words at the bottom mean. So you've got flint, kindling, and shredded. And what you'll need to do, like we've done in previous sessions, a little bit of word detectives. Find the sentence in which that word appears and try and work out what the word means. Okay, Year 5, we are now going to go through the answers to my particular question about the vocabulary. What is a flint? What is kindling? And what do you think shredded means? So a flint, and I've located it in the text here, a flint is actually a type of stone that when you rub them together it creates a spark, which of course could be very useful in creating a fire. The kindling is a type of wood, as you can see here, which found in the rainforest or found in any wooded area, which of course along with the spark created from the flint would help to feed the fire. And then shredded. Lila heaped shredded leaves. So it just means that it's been ripped up. Leaves that have been ripped up, shredded. Okay, so well done if you managed to work out what those words meant. Right, a recap from a previous session talking about personification. Can we remember what personification means? I'd like you to pause the video now and write down your definition of personification. Can you think of any examples? Good. So personification means to give something, an object or an animal, human abilities or qualities. So for example, we could say that the wind howled at night, the fire breathed in slowly, the flames choked with the smoke. It's giving an object human qualities, the things that a human can do. So bearing that meaning in mind, we're going to now look at page 62 at the personification. Well, we're going to be looking at an extract here, and then you're going to have to find some examples of personification. So, page 62, following the text, please. Lila added a handful of dry moss. Fred blew again. The fire seemed to breathe in and then exhaled a cough of flames. Max whooped. Lila held out a sheaf of twigs. The fire caught at them, made 5 burning fingers, ate them whole. It belched upwards. The fire made a noise like an idea being born, a crackle that sounded like hope and sent up a column of flames. Right, so can you pick out those examples of personification of the fire? What effect do they have? Pause the video now. Off you go. Right, so the examples here I have highlighted in red. So that the fire breathes in is an example of personification, as is the fact that it exhales a cough, so it gives out a cough. The fire makes 5 burning fingers and it eats, the fire catches on the 5 twigs, like they're like fingers, and the fire eats them whole. And then as a result, the fire belches upwards. So we could say that the effect of this is that it makes it quite clear that the fire is something that is alive. It's almost like it's got a life of its own. And hopefully you've also had a chance to have a look at the words in the vocabulary box below. That we've got moss. We've also got a column of flame, so it's going upwards, and a sheaf of twigs means a kind of a set of twigs laid out, and that those create the 5 burning fingers. Should say that the moss is kind of like a sort of almost like a small green plant, and here it's dry moss, so it's useful for setting a light to create the fire. Right, so your last activity for today. I would like you, please, to think of 5 questions you would like to ask one of the characters, Max, Lila, Con, or Fred. You're going to ask the questions, and then I would like you to write the answers as though you were that character. Okay, so you might, for example, want to write a question to Con. Why are you so brusque with the other children? Why are you quite kind of unfriendly and standoffish? It's quite difficult. Why are you brusque? And then my answer from the point of view of Con would be something like, perhaps it's I act that way because I find it difficult to make friends. I'm very frightened by the experience of crashing into the Amazon, and I'm frightened for what's going to happen next. That could be an example. So I'd like you now to think of 5 of your own questions that you could ask any one of the characters, and then write the answers as though you are that character. If you'd like to ask a question of each character, that is absolutely fine. If you want to ask just 5 questions to one character, that is also okay. Off you go. Super questions and super answers. Great work, Year 5. So, before tomorrow's lesson, if you can, read Chapter 7, The Raft, and Chapter 8, Maiden Voyage, because in our lesson, we're going to be looking at the chapters The Raft and Maiden Voyage. If you can read on, that would be great. If not, try to do as much as you can. We will be going over the main events of those chapters in tomorrow's lesson anyway. Thanks very much, Year 5, for all your hard work, and I'll see you next time. Bye!